Hey y'all, Heather here. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you just came over here after watching the install video I did for the Fogatti water heater. I wanted to kind of give you an update and a review of what I think about it so far. I've had it installed in my camper about 8 months, but before I get to the review, I want to go over a few installation things that I actually messed up in that other video. So first things first, I actually put the pressure relief valve on the wrong side. So when we filmed this video, it was like 3+ hours of filming, and honestly, I was trying to like rush through it a little bit because it had been so long, and there's so many like small parts I wanted to include for you guys that I really just wasn't paying attention and put it on the wrong side. So the pressure relief valve and all of those fittings that I showed you guys actually go on the hot water outlet, not the cold water inlet like I had put it on in that original install video. So definitely make sure to put it on the right side. Okay, now the second thing I want to talk about is the gas fitting. So actually two things for this one. The first, you're not supposed to put Teflon tape on a gas fitting because it is a flare fitting, so you don't need Teflon tape on that. So leave the Teflon tape off of the gas fitting. The second thing about the gas line that I didn't show in the video is that my original line was actually like 12 inches too long, and I actually accidentally crimped it when I was trying to like bend it and put it in place, and so I ended up cutting and flaring a new line for that. So I shortened the propane line. That's pretty easy to do with just about any copper pipe cutter and a flare tool you can buy on Amazon. Make sure it's a single flare, not a double flare. So that was pretty easy as far as the propane goes. Okay, now the third thing is, I didn't actually mess this one up. A lot of people were kind of confused about the electrical and how I did that. So when I took this, my camper out for the first time after installing this unit, every time the unit would kick on, my lights would flicker. And so I'm not entirely sure how this camper that I have is wired. And the only conclusion that I could draw is that it wasn't getting enough power and it wasn't on a single circuit like I thought it was going to be. So I actually ended up wiring it directly to my battery with an inline fuse. So if you're having the same problem as that, I don't know if that was just my camper or if that's everybody, but y'all let me know if you had any problems with it kind of flickering your lights every time it cut on. But if you do wire it directly to your battery, that kind of solves that issue. So I think those were pretty much covered the main mistakes and kind of things that I had changed with this water heater. I did get a lot of comments about wrapping the tape the wrong way, which it's really funny because I feel like most of those comments are actually what drove that video to have so many views. So thank you guys for that. And then again, it was one of those things where I was just going at it so fast, and I got nothing for that one. So, if you guys want to make fun of me for that, that's okay. We all make mistakes. I'm not worried about it. You guys, obviously know how to wrap your Teflon tape the right way. So if you want to make fun of me for that, then that's totally cool too. Doesn't hurt me one bit. It just drives up my views. Okay, so now we got all of that stuff out the way. We'll go ahead and get to the review. And I actually had filmed this entire video once before, and then I deleted it all, and now I'm recording it again because my mind was kind of completely changed about it. So it worked great after I installed it, and I put the pressure relief valve on the right side, hooked it up to the battery. Worked great after that. All summer last summer, we camped in it. It worked exactly like it was supposed to. The water temperature was constant. It was steady. It doesn't use a lot of propane, which is great. And I really loved it. I really did. And then we let it sit, I don't know, maybe a month. I had winterized the camper, and we didn't camp for about a month. And when I went to camp in it the next time, it hadn't froze or anything. Even though I winterized it just to be on the safe side, it didn't freeze or anything. It stopped working. So that being said, I had this installed and it worked great for about 6 months. And then I was kind of at a loss because what it would do was it wouldn't regulate the temperature at all. So you would, turn the faucet on, turn it on. I would have my, that little controller set to like 100. And then you would immediately turn it on and it would jump all the way up to like 135, and then it would just kind of keep rising. Now keep in mind the max temperature for that thing is supposed to be 122 degrees. So I figured some internal part or some sensor or something was going bad. So I actually reached out to RegPro. They were super nice, super helpful, and they actually sent me some new sensors that they were like, hey, if you want me to send you these, you can go ahead and try to install them yourself if you think you're able to. And if that doesn't work, then we'll just send you a whole new unit. Okay, so fast forward 3 days, and I have the 3 sensors that they sent me to try to repair this thing. So I ended up taking it out of the camper, taking it apart, changing the sensors on it, putting it back in, and then it was the same thing. So changing the sensors didn't do anything at all. So I ended up calling RegPro back, and I was like, hey, I changed the sensors and they didn't work. And they're like, no problem. Sometimes electronics are going to be electronics, and we'll just send you a new one. So that was great. And I think I got the new one within like 2 or 3 days. Like, it was super quick. Okay, so now I had the new one, and this is when I originally filmed the last video, because I was 100% positive that when I switched it out, it was going to work. And that did not end up happening. So I took the old one out, I put everything back. I actually ended up redoing all of those fittings with the pressure relief valve. I thought, oh, well, maybe something was going on. So I bought all new fittings. I bought a new 1/2-inch pressure relief valve, so I didn't have to go from 3/4 to 1/2. So I bought a Camco one of those. Put it all together and put it in the camper, tried to turn it on. Same thing. So it would turn on immediately. And then the temperature would jump all the way up to like 135, almost 140. And I was like, what in the world is going on here? Like, what in the world? And I thought to myself, what are the odds that I got 2 bad units? Like, I feel like those odds are so slim. Like, it has to be me. It has to be something in my camper. But it was so strange to me that it worked perfectly fine for almost 6 months, and then all of a sudden, it just stopped working. That's why, like, I was really confused about why this new unit was doing the same thing. So I started doing a little investigating, doing a little troubleshooting on my own camper, on my own water lines. I even bypassed the hot water heater to see if maybe it was like backflowing into that. I installed a backflow preventer right in the place of that 1/2-inch nipple that goes directly out. I installed a backflow preventer there, didn't do anything. And then I figured something out that I hadn't thought about before. So when you buy a faucet or like a shower head or anything like that, they actually have these little things on the inside that are like flow preventers to kind of like slow down the flow of water. So I was like, maybe the water is sitting in it too long, causing it to heat up too fast. Because if I took my shower head off and turned the unit on, it would regulate itself perfectly. So that was my first clue about maybe the flow is too slow or too high or too low. Like, there's something going on with the flow. Still weird that it worked perfectly fine with everything that I had, and now it doesn't. So that's still in the back of my mind. So I ended up taking all of the flow restrictors out of all of my faucets and my shower. And it was better, but it was still 10 degrees higher than what it should have been. So after I figured that out, I kind of just tabled it for a day so I could think about it. Came back to it the next day and didn't change anything in the camper. Turned the water on, and it did the same thing. Even after I had the shower head off and the water was just coming out freely, it did the same thing, which made no sense to me. Like, there was no rhyme or reason why it should have been doing that, especially when it worked fine before. So I could have continued to try to figure out what the reason was that this wasn't working. I'm still gonna try to figure it out because I'm just really curious now, and I don't know, I've bought all the fittings to hook it up and test it outside of my camper to see if it's the actual unit itself, or to see if maybe my plumbing is, I don't know, plumbed weird or backflowing. It could be anything. But honestly, we were leaving for a trip. We went camping at the beach for Memorial Weekend, and I was not fixing to have my children take a shower in scalding hot water. because that's what happened the last time we went camping, because I didn't know that it had gone bad until we were out camping. So my kids actually took a shower in my parents' camper. But I ended up taking the unit out, and I put my old 5-gallon unit back in, and that's where I'm at today. So my original unit is installed back in the camper. It's reliable. It is what it is. You know, I wanted to love it really bad. I feel like I put in so much effort to try to figure out why it wasn't working in my camper, because it has such good reviews. And I'm really surprised. Like, it has to be something in my camper. So if y'all have any ideas, let me know. I don't know if I'm going to be installing it back in my camper. But also at the same time, I want to be honest with you guys, because if I'm having this problem, chances are somebody else is going to have this problem. And I don't want you to ever think that just because somebody gives me something that I'm not going to tell the truth to you guys. Because I did get this unit for free. So I really, really wanted to love it. And I did love it when it worked. So that's my final review. So you guys can kind of pick and choose, you know, what you think is best for your family and your camper. But for me, I'm just going to stick with old reliable over there and just keep camping. So anyway, if y'all have any more questions, or if you've had any other issues like that, let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.